and welcome back to Big Brother Season 22 All Stars Episode 2 recap. I'm very excited to recap tonight's show. The episode just finished, so I came to my room and was like, let's do a recap. So much has happened since move-in day, which was Wednesday. So that was so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they've been in there almost 4 5 days. um, I am watching the live feeds, and so yeah, a lot has happened. If you're listening to me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other platform, make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss any episodes. But anyways, I don't know about you guys, but I am loving this season so far. We've all been watching and paying close attention to alliances forming. If you're watching the live feeds, so it's kind of a weird season because, as you all know, we've never had a live move-in besides Big Brother Over the Top. So really, we don't know whether or not. Well, we know actually that week one, like move-in day, alliances don't usually end up lasting, like going far in the game. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into today's recap. So the second episode just aired. So the episode starts with just kind of a recap of the first episode. So in case you forgot, we have nots, and we got to see the punishments. We know that Christmas ended up winning the $5,000. And just to remind you guys, the have nots for the week are Ian, Nicole, Memphis, and oh my gosh, I am having a brain fart. There was like one other person. So we did see the first diaring room session. And it was Cody. So we know that he was not wanting to win the first HOH of the summer. However, because of per Cody, he says, or he tells us that he really, after seeing the people in the house, he was not feeling 100% like secure, so he just went for it. So that was interesting to see that he really wasn't trying to gun for the HOH. Next we see Nicole F. A lot of people call her Snakehole, but we see her crying. So if you're watching the feeds, Nicole was literally crying, and everybody was like, well, like the old school players were like, why the fuck is she like crying? But we see her cry, and oh wait, sorry, I kind of skipped over. We see, okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. We see Nicole in the DR saying that she owes Da'Vonne a lot. So she was thanking Da'Vonne for pretty much giving her the money because it changed Nicole F's life. But here's the thing. Da'Vonne has never, Nicole has never tried to reach out to Da'Vonne before this season. So their season, Big Brother 18, took place like 3 or 4 years now. And for Nicole, so right when they got into the house, Nicole pulled Da'Vonne aside and pretty much told her that, thanked her for the vote and told her how that changed Nicole's life or whatever. Da'Vonne was not having it. She looked at the camera right when Nicole left, and Da'Vonne said, girl, she knows to watch out for Snakehole, as people call her, because Snakehole will throw you under the bus, and that's exactly what Snakehole did to Da'Vonne on season 18. So I mean, it worked out for her. She ended up winning season 18, but a lot of people are not happy with Nicole. And if you go on Twitter, if you go on YouTube, just the Facebook groups, Nicole is not liked at all. I mean, she has her supporters, but yeah, she rubs people the wrong way, and yeah. So we'll get to that, and we'll get more into that in a second. So next, we finally see that the Have Not room is open. So as you guys remember on the live show, for some reason they could not get the room to open up. But we finally got to see it. It does not look like a place that I would want to sleep in. And it really sucks that there's Have Nots this first week. Like, if I was a house guest, I would not be excited to be a Have Not, especially the first week. But this being All Stars, it was kind of expected. Like, everyone knows the rules, everyone knows what to expect. And so, yeah, Have Not room is opened. So then we see Nicole and Cody chatting in the HOH room, and they pretty much like solidify their, it's a ride or die situation. If you guys remember, Cody and Nicole both played on Big Brother 16. Now on their season, they were not aligned, but it was just interesting to see them talking, and kind of they didn't solidify anything like concrete, but they pretty much solidified the fact that they're gonna trust each other. And Cody says, I trust Nicole, but just remember, Cody, Nicole Snakehole is and will sell you out in order to win. So yeah, interesting. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. The next thing we also see is Nicole, Snakehole. We're just gonna call her Snakehole. She tells Cody that she's gonna form an all girls alliance, and she's gonna tell him every detail. This makes me feel a little bit weird, because I feel like every season we want a girls alliance, and it ends up not working out because like people like Nicole. People like Nicole tend to like cling on to guys, and that's how they get to the very end. And it's just, I don't know. It's unfortunate to see, because I would love for girls to like stick together and go to like the final 4, final 5, however many people there is in their alliance of just girls. Because I feel like guys end up dominating the games most of the time. Now, this isn't the case for every season, but for the most part, we always see one of the girls ratting out the whole girls alliance. And this is just, Nicole did this on Big Brother 18. So honestly, I'm not surprised. It just upsets me a little bit, but this is a game. And we also see Cody and Nicole talking about Janelle and Kaysar. They both mentioned to each other how they're both scared of them, Kaysar and Janelle. And rightfully so. Like, Janelle is such a comp beast. She is literally like the BB queen. And Kaysar, although he did not make it to jury on either of his seasons, Kaysar like had great gameplay. Kaysar is one of those players who is very calculated, and he knows what to do. And we've seen that on the feeds already. If you're watching the feeds, Kaysar is onto people. Like, he knows what's going on. So I think the people who align with Kaysar they're gonna be smart to do so, because he knows the game, and he knows how people work. So we'll have to see who he ends up aligning with. But as of now, we do know that Janelle and Kaysar are kind of, they have each other's backs. So I am excited. I am rooting for the old school players, in case, if you're wondering. All right, so finally we got to learn the details of the safety suite. So pretty much the safety suite is an opportunity for house guests to play in order to kind of get like a safety for the week. If you end up winning the safety, or not the safety suite comp, you're safe for the week, and you get to choose a +1 to join you. So this opportunity will be given to the house guests right before nominations. So we saw that really nobody was wanting to participate. And we saw Danny say, like, if you end up playing, that just gives the HOH an idea or of an idea of where you're at, because that just shows that you're not really comfortable or confident where you stand currently in the house. So we saw all the house guests just going back and forth, like, should I play, should I not? Keisha was also going back and forth. We also saw a conversation between Keisha and Janelle. This was a pretty funny conversation, only because Janelle and Keisha were both saying like, no, I think I'm going up. So Keisha was telling Janelle, I have a feeling I'm going up. He's got to be like thinking about putting me up. And Janelle was like, what, girl? Like, no, I'm definitely going up. And so it was just kind of interesting to see, because us as life eaters know that Cody's original plan was to put up Kaysar and Janelle, or he was wanting to. And so it was, I don't know, it's interesting to see all the house guests' perspectives on that. So yeah, Janelle disagreed with Keisha. All right, so then we see Kaysar and Cody have a conversation, and pretty much like Kaysar was trying to figure out where Cody's head was at, and at the end of that conversation, like, Kaysar told the DR, he gave me a bullshit template answer of. Anyway, so we saw that conversation go south a little bit, because Kaysar ended up leaving that conversation, saying that he's not going to fall for Cody's bullshit. Cody did not give him a, you know what, yes, you are saved, you don't have anything to worry about. There was no reassurance from Cody. So Kaysar was not feeling great after that conversation. So then we also see Memphis and Cody having a conversation, and both of them were talking about how, Janelle intimidates and scares of both of them. And I'm just like, Janelle's a queen. Janelle's literally scaring the whole house. Like, I have seen so many conversations happening on the live feeds with people saying like, Janelle scares the shit out of me, which I find very interesting, because Janelle has not played in over like 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. But at the very least, it's been like 7+ years. So it's just interesting to see that. So we see that the safety suite competition goes live, and I believe they had 45 minutes to an hour to decide whether or not they wanted to play. And at the very last minute, we see Kaysar go up and slide his little ticket to play. And right behind him was Janelle. And I think Janelle, honestly, it looked like she was waiting for someone else to go and swipe their card or their ticket thing that they were giving in order to play. Because Janelle was hanging out right by the door. And so I really don't think she would have played the safety suite comp if Kaysar didn't make that decision. So it was just interesting to see, because she was right behind Kaysar. So literally they both swiped their cards to play, 30 seconds left on the clock. So when both of them end up playing it, Cody was not happy about it, which is interesting, because we also saw Cody before saying that he was not going to. I think he was out having a conversation with, oh my gosh, I forgot who it was, but he had a conversation with someone, because we saw Cody saying that he's going to play in the next week safety comp. And so he was like, yeah, no, if you play, it's fine. But then you could tell that he was upset when he saw Janelle and Kaysar playing. Because, I wholeheartedly believe Janelle and Kaysar were his number one targets. And he was leaning towards nominating them from what we saw on the feeds. All right, so then we see the actual competition, and this was a little fun competition. So Kaysar went first. So the safety suite competition consisted of, it was like a DJ setup. So there was a table with a bunch of different instruments or different DJ equipment. Each one had a button, and they first played a song to Kesar, and he pretty much, so each button had a piece of a song, and it was like kind of like it was a complicated DJ song. I don't know what you call it, but it was your typical like dubstep music. So once they played the song for Kesar, he needed to recreate the song using the buttons, because remember, each like little DJ station had a piece of the song. So we see Kesar do it. He was struggling a little bit, and honestly, I don't think I would do that great at that competition because I like suck at memorization. Like, you have to remember the patterns and which one you already picked. And so honestly, at the end of the day, he did very well. So he finished in 7 minutes and 55 seconds. Next, we see Janelle go. And Janelle walked in there looking like a boss. She like took off her sweater. She's royalty, like BB royalty. I like Janelle a lot, and I think I hope she makes it far. So yeah. We see the results, and we see that Kesar ends up winning it. So for this competition, how it works is if someone else goes, you're pretty much competing against them to see who has the best time. Now, if you end up timing out for the competition, you end up losing. So let's say Kesar couldn't finish it, and he timed out, then he would lose. If Janelle also did that, then she would lose, and there wouldn't be a winner. So we see that Kesar won, and his +1, which, remember, if you win the competition, that person is safe, and they can choose someone to also be safe. Kesar ends up picking Janelle, which I was very excited to hear when I found out about it on the feeds. I definitely feel like Janelle and Kesar were the number one targets. And if it wasn't for this competition, they would be on the block right now. So Cody was not happy. We do see that Nicole gives Janelle a hug right after Janelle is announced as safe. And there's just so much like drama with Nicole and Janelle, not on the live feeds, but we do learn that this might be like a little bit of a spoiler if you don't watch the feeds, but we see that Janelle and Nicole, they're actually, I should just make a whole separate video, because pretty much Nicole told Tyler that Janelle started the rumor that Nicole begged to be on the season, and she like took Derek's spot, something along those lines. This is allegedly, what happened. I heard this on the feeds today, but so Janelle and Nicole are like being fake nice to each other. So we're gonna have to like figure out, and like we're gonna have to find out and see what ends up happening, because I just know that these two are gonna gun for each other sooner rather than later. So Kesar celebrates his win. He says that he wanted to send the house a message, that he's not here to play around. This is Big Brother, and he is not going down without a fight. That's pretty much what he said. So nominations end up taking place, and Cody ends up nominating Keisha and Kevin. And so far, I felt bad for Kevin, because right before nominations, he went up to Cody and was pretty much telling him that he feels like kind of some old baggage from his past is coming up in the BB house, and he's just like insecure, and like he's never felt worthy. And so like we also saw a DR of him. He was like genuinely upset. When I watched that on the live feeds, I was thinking that he was just playing it up so Cody could feel bad and not nominate him. But no, like Kevin genuinely feels like he's not worthy. And, he says that he feels like a hot potato that nobody wants. So he gets super emotional. We do see Cody later on, right before nominations, he felt bad. So it definitely like pulled a heartstring on him. But either way, Keisha and Kevin are nominated. We also see Kevin saying that he is going to get revenge against Cody after he was nominated. And yeah, he's like, I'm not leaving, Keisha is. So we're going to see what happens because hopefully one of them wins POV. I honestly don't want Keisha or Kevin to go, but if I had to choose one to be evicted, I hope it's Kevin, just because I like Keisha. Nothing against Kevin, but yeah, I don't know. This was a very interesting episode. They definitely cut out a lot on the show, which is, we know that every year that happens. But if you want to stay up to date with everything happening with or in the house, make sure you watch the live feed, or you can get like BB updates through Twitter. There's Twitter accounts that are like literally every minute are updating tweets with what's going on in the house. So that's how I also stay updated, in addition to watching the live feed. So yeah, I'm very excited to see who wins the POV. Whether or not nominations will stay the same. Let me know who you wanted to get nominated or who you were hoping for got nominated. Out of the two nominees right now, Keisha and Kevin, who do you want to hopefully win POV and maybe backdoor? Like, let me know what you guys would want to see. Anyways, I appreciate you guys listening to this recap. I will be recapping the rest of the season and also, posting it on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube. So make sure you hit that follow button and or subscribe. And yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.